Welcome back, everybody. All right, so let's go ahead and let's make a new sword here. So in this one, we're going to actually make what we call a Spartan hoplite sword. And I'm going to scale this along the x-axis, and I'll scale this along the z-axis, something like this. And then I'll scale this along the x. I think it's good. Scale this along the y-axis. All right, and make it something more like that. Tab into edit mode, we'll do a loop cut in here, right click once you're there, and that should make it right in the center, and delete these vertices right in here. Let's go ahead and let's add in a mirror modifier, and we will add in the Y like that here. Let's add in a loop cut just so we have our blade here, and I'll do that here. And what I'm going to do in this tutorial is I'm actually going to add in 2 more loop cuts. Now I'm not going to do, if you watched a couple tutorials ago, you'll notice that we did 2 mirror modifiers or modeling on the X and the Y. But in this case, we're just going to actually just do the Y. We'll do that one right there, and we'll do another loop cut like that here. Now I do have a very good reason to do that here. Now another thing you can do is, if let's say you make a mistake, you can always move this out like that, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to simply push extrude because I think that's probably good enough. Okay, I will do that here. And one thing we're going to do with this one's going to be a little bit different because we're actually going to go apply this mirror modifier. All right, and what I'll do is I'll push E to extrude, move that up just a bit, and then I'm going to actually move this out just a bit here. Actually, what we will do is we will simply move this up all the way here, and we will go and move this up just like that. Yeah, something like this, and we'll actually move this up as well too. You'll see what we're going to do here, and then at the bottom here we will extrude this down, and then we will extrude this down, and then extrude this here, kind of like that. Yeah, I think that'll work here, and there we go. Now we're going to go ahead, we're going to tab into object mode because you can't apply these modifiers in edit mode, and we're going to make this way cooler than this actually is. Okay, so first things first, let's go and let's add in a loop cut up at the top here, and we can add it in somewhere around there, and then add in another loop cut as well. And I'm just going to move that down here, and I'm going to simply just move that out. Move it out like this, and believe it or not, this is what some of these swords look like here. Just going to kind of move that down. All right, let's hop into here. Let's add in a loop cut, and we will add it in somewhere like that. And we need to add in another loop cut, and we'll kind of put it like that there. And all we need to do is simply move that out just like that. Okay, move it up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one and I'm going to move it very much like that here. Very cool. In fact, I'm going to move all these 3 down more like that. All right, now we're talking here. Okay, move this one in a bit and this one in a bit as well. Pretty neat. Okay, and I think that actually looks good. But we're going to take these 2 and move it in as well. Now, one of the things you need to know, depending on what kind of person you are, but if you are a technical-minded person, there is a lot of tweaking to do with art. And if you haven't taken any art or anything like design, there's a lot of tweaking to do. Okay, so now that we have this, that actually looks pretty cool. Let's pop into face select mode, and I'm actually going to take these faces here, and I'm just going to move it in like this, and I'm actually going to scale it in like that here. Same thing here, except I'm going to actually make this a little bit bigger, and I'm going to take this in here just like that, and I'm going to scale it in. Make sure they're roughly about the same. So there we go. And here, I'm going to take all these three. I'm going to extrude it. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude it just a bit. Extrude it, and then I'm going to rotate this along the x-axis, just kind of like that. And you push extrude, and I'm going to rotate this along the x-axis, and I'm just going to extrude like this, and I'm going to scale that in there. Okay, so we got this cool little handle here. I'm going to extrude this, rotate this along the x-axis, rotate this along the x-axis, something like this, and I'm just going to extrude, and then I'm going to scale it in. So there we go. We got this cool little thing going on there. Now it's looking a little thick, and the reason is that the blade itself isn't that thick. We can make that bigger, and before we do that though, what we're going to do is we're actually going to take this in here, move it in. We're going to move this in too. And then we're going to move this in, and we'll move this in too. So that makes it look a little bit better. But just move it in just a bit. There we go. And all right, let's go, and it's still an edge select. Let's select all of these edges and move them out just a bit, something like that. And then we can actually do the same thing here, like all these here. Okay, now by the way, the sword's a little bit bigger than I wanted it to be, but for the most part, this is what it's looking like here. Now the only thing that we could really change is we can change this up at the top here, and we can just simply scale it along the x-axis to make it look a little bit more like the bottom there. Okay, and so this is actually a cool little sword here. If we're doing one more fine detail, we can take this out just like this, and we can take this out like that here. There we go. So it gives it more of that quality here. And if we want to do this along there we go. All right, and there we go. That's a nice, cool little sword. Excellent. I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.